Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, back with some more Yoshi's Crafted World, and I am so very out of practice because I recorded this on the 19th of December, it is now the 25th of January, so I don't remember what I did, and I've been putting off recording any more of this because once this episode's up, I'll need to record the next episode's gonna be hard. Anyway, now that I've got myself together, we need to head into the countdown begins to find a thing. I was too busy bemoaning my state of affairs to pay any attention to what we're actually looking for. But it's near the end of the level, which is to say, near the beginning of the level, because we're on the flip side, so it's backwards. Just go over there, it's in the background, it's there. Nice and straightforward. It's, we're starting things off nice and easy. There is a definite curve over the course of this episode, and then consequently, the next episode, which I've not recorded yet, and I am dreading because it's gonna be difficult, and I should just let that go. Let the future be in the future, let's focus on the present. So, we're looking for 6 alien friends in Ride the Stars. Now this is a really interesting, well, it's a statistically interesting mission, because it's one of those rare instances, and I feel like it's not the only one, but it is one of not very many, where we're looking for multiple targets, but multiple non-identical targets, and in fact, all 6 of them look completely different from each other, so there's Glamrock Bonnie for one, and the little thumbnail that pops up when you collect one does actually show you what each of the 6 of them look like, so just keep your eyes open, try not to completely miss and then have to bap the planet multiple times to get the holes realigned so you can actually hit the bugger. And there we go, that felt like a lucky shot, but whatever, it still counts. And here's another one where just rotate the mobile. Why don't Americans pronounce the I in mobile? Like, at this point, I'm not even throwing shade, it's more just of a question, like, you do realize it's M-O-B-I-L-E and not just M-O-B-L-E, right? Well, let's not fixate on that too heavily. Now, you would have thought, with 6 completely unique-looking targets to find, that this would be tedious or boring, but no, I found it weirdly relaxing. And, like, I'm finding it relaxing to commentate, that's the word, common potato, over it here and now. It's the evening, I've had my dinner, I might have a carrot later on, just to, as my evening snack. And, yeah, I feel at peace. We've made 6 friends, everything is juicy and lovely and spacious. Which surprisingly doesn't refer to the type of space that's relevant to the question here. Anyway, what are we doing next? Ah, yes. So the next mission is another short, snappy, sweet, easy, quick one. We just need to get the entire sun, as one does. And, well, we were told it's huge, you can't miss it, and yeah, it's huge and you would struggle to miss it because it's huge and relatively, once again, near the objective end of the level, which is to say near the beginning, because flip side, I really should stop saying that because it's confusing, but look, there it is. Like, not even a minute into the level, and you can get to it even quicker if you know where it is. No duh, I guess, but I mean, I was bumbling around at the beginning there because I was trying to examine every suspicious-looking nook and cranny, but if I'd just trusted myself and gone straight ahead, it would have been easy enough to find. Similarly, here, we're looking for a spirited star, or, as I've put in my notes, the raunchy poop planet, because I knew it had a weird descriptor, but I couldn't remember what it was. Now, don't worry about what I'm doing here. I was worried that the thing we're looking for, like the smiley face on it, might be facing away from us, so I tried to spin around every planet that I saw, just in case it was the one we were looking for and we just couldn't see the smiley face in it because it was facing away from us. Mercifully, I didn't know at the time, but the game does not pull that sort of trickery on us. At least, not here. The planet we're looking for is a little bit out of the way, but you will be able to see the smiley face on it, so you will, quote-unquote smiley face, so you will know just on sight without having to do any special trickery. It's not decorated on the flip side, it's just right there. There you go, the raunchy poop planet. Gotta get that smiley flower, get a couple of extra coins because it's there, but yep, there you go. That is the face of a raunchy poo. I should stop saying things.
Stop saying things!
Just forever. Anyway, our next mission, I did it again. I was nearly 5 minutes clean in this episode, and then I said it. Right, we're heading back to the countdown begins. And partly because of these missions, it's kind of become, well, I don't want to say my least favourite level, because I do still really like it on a conceptual level. It's clever, it's fun, it's just, it has wronged me. Not in this mission, but later in this video it will come back and wrong me, and I will take that very personally. So, we're looking for a lunar lander, and logically, you would expect a lunar lander to be on the Luna, i.e. the moon. So, you know, go to the end of the level, get to where the moon is and look for it there. That would make sense. And mercifully, that is the solution here. It's just, I feel like the game worded it in such a way where it's like, oh, you'd expect it to be on the moon, but it might still be on the base. You know, it had to have started life somewhere. It didn't just come into being on the moon, but no, we're looking for something that is in situ on the moon. And we've been seeing an awful lot of foil UFOs in the background. Just keep those in mind for later, but for now, you get out of the way. Okay, let's try that jump again. Just hidden beyond the crater. Can I get a good angle on it, please? Okay, we got a good angle on the dangle. There's the lunar lander. The Lunar has landed on the Lunar. Everything's great and lovely. Yum forwards, Mexican salsa, yes. So how is everyone doing? Because, as I said, it was an entire month between me recording this footage and recording this audio, and it's probably not even going to go onto YouTube for at least another 2 days anyway, so how are y'all doing? I bet you haven't missed me. So, our next objective, well, our first objective within this objective is right there at the start of the level, so we'll just need to go and grab an egg. You will give me, legally, you have to give me an egg, we'll just collect you, and now we can go into fast forward times. This level is a mixed bag, because the early, like, Shy Guy shuttles, I already forget what they're called, they're static, they're stationary, they're static, inert, and immobile, because they don't have the vital nutrient that is sarsaparilla. But the later ones incorporate movement in such a way that makes them feel missable, and I got them successfully, so I can't guarantee that they are or aren't missable. So just follow my video as a guide, if indeed that's what you're doing, and you'll be fine. But, you see, there's that one sort of trundling past in the background, then it flies up and out of the way, and like, is it permanently missable? I don't know. I don't want to find out. I don't want to have to worry about such things. And the last one, okay, it was just that one that was moving. I misremembered. I thought the fifth one was doing something equally sneakily, but it wasn't. So that puts us in a good place. Now then, our next objective is a curious one, because later down the line, I did have to... Okay, I admit there was one mission where I had to look up a guide because there was something that I was heavily missing, but it wasn't this one. But what I did find when I was looking up that guide is that this is the mission that people struggle with, supposedly. Like, this is the one that most people want to find a guide for. I didn't have any trouble with it, but we're looking for a pink UFO, and it's... I guess, knowing in hindsight where it is, I can see why people struggle with it, but I didn't, so... skill issue, get good, I guess. No, I shouldn't be mean about it. People struggle with different things. You just need to climb on top of this egg block, and I happen to catch a glimpse. There is UFO and UFO brackets pink. And that's my whole reason for putting that in the video thumbnail. That's the one people struggle with, apparently, but I didn't. You're welcome. What can I say except Bigfoot, Masked Singer references that are timely? It's 2024. Ho ho! Now, we need Saturn, and I'm just basking in the revelation that this is the first thing I have recorded for YouTube in 2024. Because the most recent episode of Bug Fables and the two that follow it, I recorded those in December, so those were in the can quite some time ago. And this is my first time recording in the new year, and it's not actually all that significant, but still. So, we were told that Saturn was surprisingly small. And bearing in mind, in the real world, it is, I think, one of the gas giants, which gas giant planets bother me because it's like, the planet isn't made of planet, it's made of gas. So the planet isn't even really there, but then, well, it is really there, it's a load of gas, it's a cloud of gas, as opposed to, say, Earth, for example, which is a cloud of solids and liquids. So, what is a cloud? A fluffy little pile of sins. I'm borrowing references incompletely. I have burned the clothespin anemone. Now, this is the reason why I'm a bit salty towards this level. We're looking for 6 UFOs. We're just starting the level, and I've already missed one. I spent an hour looking for just some sort of insight as to what I was doing wrong, because I thought that was the first one. That's actually the second. We'll come back for the first one, don't worry about it. But that's the second one. It's the first one I found. There's, I want to say, 2 more down here. It's either 3 on ground level, 3 on the moon, or 4 on ground level and 2 on the moon. So, there's that. Okay, that brings us up to, should be 3, but it's 2. And then, okay, that brings us up to 4. Okay, so it's 4 at ground level. So, I would say don't go to the moon unless you have 4, but that just there is a point of no return. So, yeah, there are only 2 up here, and the gold ones don't count. The gold ones never count. You will never need to collect those gold UFOs for the purposes of these Find the Things missions. So you might recall, there's one over there. And the last one is in the crater where the lunar lander was, but in the foreground. And now I panic because, oh, well, you'd think it'd be an even split of 3 UFOs up here, 3 UFOs down there. We found 3 down there, we found 2 up here, so the third one should be up here. But no, because there's the end of the level. As I said, it's right at the beginning, and despite an hour of searching and multiple startings over, my eyes glazed over, it's right there in the background, camouflaged, and I am salty, but I can't even complain. That was just... Fault is entirely mine. Life is love, thing is known. I'm just salty that the game pulled one over on me like that, but still...
I've got a request for you, so you get twirly-woos in space!
And one stinking hellebore amongst. Huzzah, every single one in outer orbit, which means we can move on to Shadowville. And these missions are rather taxing, but it is a little bit satisfying that arbitrarily they rotate in the order of levels, so we've got one in Be Afraid of the Dark, one in the next level, one in the level after that, and then back to here, and then it rotates like that. So Shadowville 1, Shadowville 2, Shadowville 3, Shadowville 1, Shadowville 2, you get the idea. So, what are we looking for? We're looking for bins. They are very small. You're under constant threat of being axe murdered. There is a bin in the window, a bindo, if you will. That feels like it might be an offensive term in a language I don't speak. If it is, I apologize, but I'm just portmanteauing bin and window. I refuse to call them trash cans. And a conversation I had with my mother lately, she revealed to me that where she lives now, they don't have wheelie bins, but they don't have dust bins either. I said, I've not seen a dust bin in real life since the early 2000s. Where I live has wheelie bins, because I'm living in the city, you know, you've got to survive, you've got to keep that dream alive. Where she lives, they don't even put their bins out, they just put rubbish bags out on the curb, apparently. Like, I'm sorry, is it the 1920s? Are you a criminal? So that's my trash bin rant, which trash bin sounds like such a contradiction in terms, because growing up in Britain, trash has always been an American word, trademark. Like, we call it rubbish, they call it trash or garbage. Those are American words, our word for it is rubbish. Or perhaps refuse, but that's much more polite. Now, we're looking for a whale, or as I put in my notes, quale balena, because before I moved out, my mother was studying Italian. I think she still is, but I would help her because we lived together at the time, and I don't remember if the phrase quale balena came up in Italian, but certainly the words did individually. Quale balena, of course, meaning, what whale? You're hiding a whale, aren't you, Tangerine? Oh, what whale? Quale balena? So, yeah, I'm not sure why Duolingo thinks that it's critical that you learn the word for whale before you learn the past tense, but, you know, it's whatever. I wouldn't know. I'm too busy brushing up on my French and Russian and Welsh, and this continues to... That's my conversation thing. That's how I wow people. I mentioned that I'm an absolute screaming nerd, apparently. Now, once again, to date this video in terms of references that are timely, we're looking for a little mouser, but in my notes I've referred to it as Shirley Ballas, because in The Masked Singer, that was the true identity of Rat, and I correctly guessed her, but only during her final performance before being unmasked, because the way she pronounced young man, I'm like, that's Shirley Ballas. And I was right, and people were like, whoa, it's Shirley Ballas. And I'm like, yeah, I called it. I was right at the 11th hour. So, thank you for your service, Shirley. You've been lovely about it. Like, I know I've said things in the past that go against what the judges on Strictly Come Dancing have to say, but as the character of Rat, she was a delight. I do recommend Maskcast, the official UK Masked Singer podcast. They will never invite me on it. I would love to participate in the Masked Singer, just throwing that out into the world, but alas, I'm not famous enough. Now, our next objective is a nighttime vehicle. What do you mean by that? Like, we can tell from the silhouette it's a car, but a nighttime vehicle as opposed to what? Is it a wear car? Is it the night of the wear car like in Futurama? During the day it's a bending unit such as Bender Bending Rodriguez, but by night it turns into a car? Is that what you mean by a nighttime vehicle? I'm making my back itch by how tilted I'm getting. Does anyone say tilted anymore? They probably don't. Oh, that brings me on to another mental floundering. But first, we're heading back into the museum to look for vases, and saying this right up front, you're only looking for vases with flowers in them. Vases with anything else or nothing don't count. Also, it's kind of worth your while to just get caught by the lights and just blitz on through. It's fine, it's a minor inconvenience. Plus, there's one, and they're gonna be in the background, so just have the lights on you so you can see the background at all times. As long as you're good at dodging the naughty guys, the naughty ones, because this is the Garden of Banban apparently, you're fine. But yes, that one counts, that one doesn't, and this one also doesn't. As I said, you're only looking for vases with flowers in. Now, I recently, again, date stamping this video, I recently saw the episode of Good Mythical More, where they were analysing Gen Alpha slang, and I am so peeved by the TikTok that they were reacting to in doing all of that. But more on that in just a moment. What's our next? Ooh, okay. We're heading back to the factory. As I said, the missions here rotate between the levels in a set pattern, whereas in other worlds it's felt a bit more arbitrary than that. But yes, we are looking for a forklift truck, so, you know, if you meet the approval of the lead singer of the Shadows on not 3 and not 5, but somewhere in between occasions, you could say you have been Cliff certified. Because Cliff Richard. And there's that, it's transporting a green cube of goodness knows what. Nikakali Nikabaya. I don't remember the words. North Macedonia 2011, I just remembered that the singer of that song died. That is sad. There is a strange positive correlation between singers who represent North Macedonia at Eurovision and untimely death, and that's sad. Having given them a moment of silence, we're heading back into Be Afraid of the Dark. We're looking for a dog kennel. Do Americans say kennel, or do they only say that in reference to where you send the dogs? Like, when you're going on holiday but you can't bring the dog with you, you send it off to a kennel. Well, yeah, also, what Americans call a dog house is just a kennel. Do people say that? Has my world been rocketed upside Dwemble? Have things changed? Am I wrong about life? Okay, I will get back on the tangent I was previously referring to in a moment, but one thing at a time, because first of all, we've found the dog kennel with the world's derpiest looking dog. I'm not a dog person. I can appreciate a dog, but I don't enjoy their company, broadly speaking. I'm a cat person. Nya. Now, our next mission is a bit of a tricky one. We're looking for 5 cheap chaintings, and you know those walls that move up and down in the background? Yeah, some of the paintings are hidden on those. So anyway, I would like to complain about the act of sticking out one's gyat for the Rizzler. By which I mean the TikTok in question, which I will not link to, and I will not reference it any further, but okay, first of all, you need to press the button and hide, because these walls disappear if you've been caught by the searchlights, and some of your objectives are stapled to the wall, so just be aware of that. But yes, I had this whole articulate ramble prepared in my head, and I'm blanking on it right now because I just want to get to the point. It's just the way that the slang terms are used in that TikTok. First of all, goes against all conventionality when it comes to lyricism. It's just bad from a songwriting perspective. And also, you're just using random terms without even trying to mean anything, and I hate deliberate meaninglessness when painted as if it's supposed to be meaningful. By which to say, I don't know who Phantom is, and it's not really relevant, but you can't just say, "You're so Phantom Tax." That doesn't mean anything, stop pretending that it does. But at the same time, it's not my place to judge, because when I was that child's age, the expectation was you just sing random nonsense and no one would judge you for it. It's just the fact that it's been put on the internet, so I feel instinctively inclined towards judging it, but I know that I shouldn't because it's just a child having a bit of fun. Calm down, Tess, you grumpy old man. I do have good ideas in here somewhere, but I've gone on such a tangent, and I've articulated it so poorly, that we should just forget about it. Now, this mission is very similar to the whole finding the silver UFO things, because I've already missed the first one, because it was behind the start. The one time that I don't check behind the beginning of a level is the one time I should have done so. But don't worry, we come back for it. So, this level is just mean, because there's that one where it's hiding behind a slow-moving set piece in the background, so you'd be forgiven for not even noticing it. And it's not the only one that does that. It's not as bad as that one Cheep from whichever level it was ages ago, where it was on a slow-moving cycle that you'd only see every, 30 seconds or so. It's not as bad as that. But imagine that badness, but divided evenly among 6 participants. I happened to notice that on that bit of platforming... Now, bear in mind, these gears that we're looking for are really small. That takes up, to be generous, 1/8 of the, of what's visible on that spinning cog. And at most, a third of it is visible at a time, so you'd be forgiven for not seeing it. It's just so meanly hidden. Anyway, I've missed several at this point, so I got to the end of the level and realised, hang on a minute, I've missed some. So there's one, and the thing that it's resting on to make it stand up makes it look like one of them ring pops. Now, these crushers do make it difficult to backtrack, but luckily the one I was missing that isn't the first one was just there, so I didn't need to backtrack any further anyway. So, let's just retry. We can't go back any further anyway because those crushers undulate in such a way that you can't go back through them. But yeah, I am peeved. The one time I didn't look backwards to check in a level is the one time that I needed to. To hell with you, Mr. Geary's factory. We will never come back to you, except we will have to come back to you in just a moment. Because the final mission... Well, if we're going through them chronologically, technically Hidden Hills comes after this, but we've already done those. The last mission of the non-extra levels that isn't a boss is one of those find one thing across multiple levels missions. So, first of all, be afraid of the dark. We're looking for a... Well, I noticed it in the background when we were looking for the whale, and I thought, there's some sort of robot frog. And I didn't realise that, there's one in every level in Shadowville, because this mission is a thing that exists. So there you go, just after that room with all the clouds, there's our first robot frog, which gives us plenty of excuse to chumble over strundily to Skulking around. And mercifully, this one is a lot easier to find. At the very least, it's nearer the beginning. So as long as you're not afraid to get got by the searchlights and just trundle on ahead, there we go, hiding in the background. I believe it is probably possible to hit that without getting caught, but the game does not care if you get caught or not. It's just find the thing. And speaking of finding the thing, this one, at the very least, we need to go basically 80-85% of the way through the level, so just do what Nintendo would call a speed run, which is a whole reference unto itself that I'm sure I've ranted about before. The short version is, it's one of Young Cricket's voice lines in WarioWare Gold, and that's not what a speed run is. You can't just say speed run. You can't just stick out your gat for the Rizzler like that, Nintendo. Hey. I did receive, over the festive period, WarioWare Move It, and it's shorter than I hoped, but I still enjoyed it. I think it's not the best WarioWare game, but it's still good. Anyway, there's the final robot frog. I don't think it's even meant to be a frog. I think it's just meant to be just a do-it-yourself robot, but whatever, I think it looks like a frog. What does it look like to you? Answers below in the lovely little comment place. In the meantime, though...
I've got a request for you, so you get Shadowville. Twirly woos.
And 2 stinking hellebores this time. Even better, it almost makes it worth choking on the voice for. So yeah, we have now collected every single collectible in the game. We have got twirly woos everywhere in the world, which when I first undertook this task, I didn't think I would live to see the day. But here we are, twirly-woos everywhere in the world, except for the very end of the Hidden Hills because of you, which we will deal with in the next episode. See you then for that.